All right, so many of you have probably already seen this by now, but a couple of days ago, Hasan went on Piers Morgan's show, Piers Morgan's Uncensored, to talk about the Israeli-Palestine conflict. He went on there, and the entire segment is really, really good. It's about a 25, 26-minute interview. It is here on YouTube on Piers Morgan's channel, excuse me. I definitely recommend you guys go and watch the entire thing because it is a really, really great interview. They didn't get to talk about too much, but Hasan absolutely fucking killed it. He did an amazing job, and I'm not going to sit here and react to the entire thing, but I am going to play a clip, and I want to more so talk about, like, why the media is just so terrible in covering certain things like this. And I feel like there's a pretty good or a pretty easy reason to understand why, and I think Piers Morgan is a great example of this. So what preceded this clip, because this is, I don't want to, make it seem like I'm, trying to frame it in a certain way. You guys can't even see the timestamp. This is exactly 9 minutes and 27 seconds into the interview. They were talking about the hospital, and Piers was asking Hasan why he said that, or why he believed that it wasn't Hamas that bombed the hospital in Gaza, and it was the IDF. And Piers was saying, well, I don't know yet, so I'm not making any claims. According to actual evidence we have now, investigation by Al Jazeera showed that it wasn't Hamas that bombed the hospital. But I think that came out after this interview actually aired. But here is Hasan and Piers, mostly Hasan, talking about how everyone that covers stuff like this, myself included, is essentially, they're doing propaganda. And when a lot of people hear the word propaganda, they think that propaganda is bad. And yes, propaganda can absolutely be weaponized and be a very bad thing, but propaganda can be good. That's what I'm doing essentially here on this channel. That I'm doing propaganda. I feel like I'm not doing it in a way that hurts anybody or is negative.
As far as me being a propagandist goes, everyone is a propagandist. I'm just honest about it. You're a propagandist. We have our biases.
I'm curious who you think I'm a propagandist
honest
for.
About my biases.
Who do you think I'm a propagandist for?
So Piers doesn't. I feel like Piers kind of misunderstands what Hasan is trying to say here, which that's on Piers 100%. But if you heard what Hasan said there, he said we have our biases, and that's 100% true. And this is the problem that I want to talk about. So you turn on a station like CNN, you turn on any news station, and what do they say? Well, they say that this is the home for fair, unbiased coverage of whatever they're trying to cover. There is, I'm sorry, I am sorry, but there's no such thing as unbiased. Every single person, whether we like it or not, and whether it's at the forefront of our mind when we're having a conversation or we're learning about something or we're doing something at any given time, we all have a bias or biases. Again, sometimes they're at the forefront of our mind when we're talking to someone or we're doing something. Sometimes they're not. But everybody has an inherent bias. I believe that a correct term is implicit bias. So when someone says unbiased, that's not really real. If I went up to you, if I walked up to you right now, like whoever's watching this video, if I went up to you right now and I said, completely negate any and all biases you may have for the remainder of this conversation, we wouldn't have a conversation. We wouldn't be able to have a conversation because that's impossible. It is impossible for you to tell your brain to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna be completely unbiased here. All of my lived experience, I'm going to do away with. And I'm going to stand here and be completely neutral. It's not possible. It's not possible. Despite how hard people may try, it's not realistic. It's not a realistic way of thinking.
Who do I think you're a propagandist for? Whichever every media person is doing propaganda.
But who for? I've got to be doing it for somebody.
You think it's a bad word. I don't. That's just the difference. This is a semantics conversation.
I think it's actually quite a serious charge. Hasan, I think it's a serious charge to level, not on a podcaster, but as a journalist who's broadcasting around the world, who has a reputation, I believe, for being fair and impartial, actually, on these issues.
It's just, again, the impartial thing is It's just not realistic. It's not a realistic thing to say that, I'm being impartial on this issue, or to assume that you're going to be able to be impartial, especially when it's an issue so important and so just incredibly powerful, like this right here. What's going on in Gaza and what's going on with the Palestinian people. There's a lot of people that are very, very upset. Okay, so especially when it comes to an issue this important, it's irresponsible to say something like that. In my opinion, it's very irresponsible. I don't expect Piers Morgan to sit there and be a responsible journalist in any way, shape, or form, but
it's quite a charge to just say I'm a.
Also, when I say that someone can't be unbiased, I don't mean like a reporter in the field that's just reporting on an incident is like being biased by reporting on it or something like that. I don't want anyone to think that I think journalists bad or anything like that. That's not what I meant by what I said.
Stenographer of the Israeli government, or I'm a propagandist. I don't think there's any evidence I'm either of those things. I'm curious who you think I'm doing the propaganda for.
While we're having this conversation, 3,000 Piers, while we're having this back and forth, 3,840 Palestinians have been ruthlessly slaughtered in the last incursion into Gaza. I feel like this is an incredibly selfish, self-centered conversation to have. You asked me to be on here. You wanted to hear my perspective. I'm willing to give it to you. I don't want to talk about I don't want to talk about Noam Chomsky style manufacturing consent conversations about how the media is operating in the behest of capital.
You were the guy. Listen, you were the guy that called me.
There are dead people.
Listen, Hasan, I only asked you because you're the guy that called me a propagandist and called me a baboon in a suit. I was curious as to why. You don't want to say who I'm doing the propaganda for. We'll move on. I agree with you. There's a bigger picture here. Let's move on. Let's take a short break. Hasan, let's take a short break. I want to come back. I want to talk to you about what happened on October the 7th. Get your reaction to that.
Okay, and that's where I'm not gonna play any more of the clip. Again, I really want you guys to go and check it out for yourself. Unfortunately, you do have to go and click on Piers Morgan's channel to view that clip there. But what Hasan said there, I was honestly I wasn't surprised, but I thought that was really, really great what he said to Piers. This is a self-centered, selfish conversation to be having. We're sitting here talking about us. Piers is talking about, hey, why are you calling me a propagandist? Why did you call me a baboon in the suit? When Piers brought him on to talk about Palestine and Israel, it was a pretty short interview. It was only 25 minutes. Hasan said it best. He said it best himself. When it comes to this issue, okay, it's not complicated. Well, technically, Michael Brooks is the one who said it best. It's not a complicated issue, okay? It's not. Israel, there are people dying, okay? We know that. There are innocent lives being taken, innocent Palestinian lives being taken. There's a lot of talk about, Hamas is this, Hamas is that. Oh, well, we're negotiating with terrorists, this, that, and the other. The IDF, the Israeli government, they hold all of the power in this situation. All of it. Hamas, they are not the power player here. They are incredibly, incredibly small. They have barely any power compared to the Israeli government. The end to this conflict, all of that ending power is held by Israel's government, excuse me. It's not hard to understand. It is literally apartheid. It is an apartheid state. We are witnessing right now, as we speak, a genocide of the Palestinian people. I'm only 21 years old, and I'm sitting here, we all are sitting here witnessing an atrocity. Something so incredibly scary. Something that is, I don't even know how to put into words what the fucking the people in Gaza are going through. The conditions of the Palestinian people are they're so fucking bad. And that's an understatement. There's innocent lives being taken. These people had their land stolen from them. I'm trying not to get emotional, but it's just terrible. It's fucking terrible. And then our government wants to get up there and they don't care about the people in Palestine. They don't care about the people in Gaza. They don't. They don't fucking care. They care more about protecting Israel. And that fucking sucks. And I'm not surprised, but it fucking sucks. It fucking sucks. And that's where I'm going to leave the video. Again, guys, please, please, please go and check out Hasan on Piers Morgan. Again, he did an incredible fucking job. Also, one more thing I actually do want to point out here, which Majority Report covered this. A lot of other people have covered it too. Piers Morgan, there's actually another Piers Morgan interview that is probably more incredible than the Hasan one. You guys know how much I love Hasan. But comedian Basim Youssef, I am so sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. I am really sorry about that. Went on Piers Morgan 3 days ago. They posted the entire interview to Piers Morgan's channel again. And guys, this is just, I don't even want to play it to spoil any of it for you. Again, for those of you that watch Majority Report or some other leftist channels on here, you might have seen clips of this. But this is just as powerful as the Hasan one, if not a little more. This is just such a great interview. It is one of the best interviews because of Basim. He does such an incredible fucking job. He goes in and literally picks apart and absolutely destroys Ben Shapiro's argument, because Piers had Ben Shapiro on last week. He picks apart Ben Shapiro's argument so well, so calculated, so meticulous. It is absolutely incredible. That's where I'm going to leave it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, press that little bell, turn on all notifications so you guys never miss an upload.